TNCRadio.LIVE, your commercial driver navigation station.
This is Heath Sanders, and you're listening to TNCRadio.LIVE.
Hello and welcome to TNCRadio.LIVE. This is Truckers Life Radio. And now here's your host, Ron Frazier.
Welcome to Truckers Life Radio, and I'm Ron Frazier, your host. Today with me is Robert Palm. Robert is the founder and president of TruckersFinalMile. That organization their mission is to reunite North American truck drivers and their families during times of crisis. And so we're glad to have Robert with us. Robert, thank you for joining us.
Ron, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to spread awareness of our organization.
Great. Robert, I want to start with who is Robert Palm? Other than the fact that you started this organization, which, by the way, is a great organization, what's your history?
Well, Ron, I am an over-the-road truck driver, and I have been in the trucking industry since March of 1981, and I'm coming to you from behind the wheel of a truck right now.
Tell me, Robert, a little bit about your personal background.
Well, sir, I was born and raised outside of Niagara Falls, New York. In 72, family moved down to Albuquerque, New Mexico. In 1975, I went on a tour with the United States Army for a little bit. I got out of the Army in January of 1980. And, you know, when you're young, not knowing what your direction is in life, you know, I sowed my oats, so to speak, for that first year. And then in March 81, I began driving a dump truck locally in Albuquerque. That moved from dump truck operation to towing and recovery for about 8 years of doing that. And I've been over the road as an owner-operator pretty much ever since.
Robert, I got to back you up a little bit. You said you grew up outside of Niagara Falls, New York. Is that
yes, sir?
Whereabouts?
Well, if you go north of Niagara Falls to where the Niagara River flows into Lake Ontario, there's a little village there. It's called Youngstown. And there's a historic state park, Fort Niagara. And I grew up adjacent to that property just east of where the Niagara River goes into Lake Ontario.
Hey, that's pretty cool, Robert, because I don't know that we've ever talked about it, but I grew up 30 minutes due east of you.
Is that right?
That's right. I grew up just outside of Lockport, New York. So
okay. Yeah, I know Lockport.
Common ground, buddy.
Yes, sir. Hey, absolutely.
Hey, you made a statement in well, actually, tell me about your driving background, because I think you've had some difficult experiences, if I read your bio a little bit right. Have you, during your time of driving, have you experienced accidents, or have you experienced, physical issues? I mean, really, what brought you to a focal point of doing and developing this organization?
Well, Ron, this is my testimony, and this is what happened was, as you grow older and you experience things, and life happens. In 1993, we lost my brother out on the road to an over-the-road truck crash, and our family pretty much had to gather from all four corners of the earth to bring him home to be laid to rest. In 1997, they nearly had to come get me because I was in a major truck crash in Columbus, Ohio, and that crash put me in rehab for several months, to where it took a lot to get me back behind the wheel of a truck. In 2010, I was driving cross country and my appendix ruptured in the truck. I was able to make it to a hospital emergency room where I was taken into emergency surgery and then the recovery time there at the hospital. And I had to find my own way back home. I didn't get any help from the company other than they were gracious enough to impound my truck for me up there in St. Louis. So, I had to, find ways to get home. And then in 2012, I rescued a young lady that was driving a tanker ahead of me in a rural area of Oklahoma. And she rolled that tanker down into a steep ravine, and I was first on scene, assisted in getting her out of her truck. And in doing so, the seat and her and everything in the cab of the truck pretty much came down on top of me at that time. And so we sat there together talking until the first responders arrived. And after all of that, we got her on a life flight helicopter to the hospital. Climbing up out of that ravine, the Lord spoke to me and said, "Hey, Robert, there's something else we'd like you to do." And so I spent all of 2013 researching, educating myself, and doing all of the legwork to begin the 501c3 charity. And each one of our operating programs, we took from life experiences and developed those programs specific for the truckers and the truckers' families out there in the industry, so that those that experienced what I had experienced would have someone to call for assistance or someone to lean on for a little bit of help, during a dark hour. And right now, here we are almost 8 years later, and we've assisted in reuniting 371 drivers. And in this year alone, up to this point, we've brought home 64 drivers now.
Yeah, Robert, I was looking through your website, and I encourage, anyone out there listening to this program to go to your website, www.TruckersFinalMile.org, and take a look at the people you have helped. I was maybe surprised, if not awed, by the number of gentlemen who have passed away that you were able to help get their bodies back home, and you were able to help the families with caring for those situations. 2021 alone seemed like there was just an extreme number of men who passed away for one reason or another in the trucking community.
Yes, sir. And we're just barely scratching the surface there, Ron. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, one of their reports that came out for 2019 mentioned that 851 commercial vehicle occupants in 2019 had lost their lives in a tractor trailer or commercial vehicle collision out on the roads in the U.S. And, that's a statistic that just encompasses the collisions. Another 20,000 a year on average are injured and transported from the scene of a collision by ambulance. And that those first two, the reporting criteria for a DOT accident, there's 4 criteria there. 1 is a fatality, 2, an injured person being transported from the scene, 3, property damage exceeding $4,000, or number 4, either or any vehicle being towed from the scene. So they're creating those statistics from the reporting criteria. And for 2019, 851 had lost their lives just in a collision.
Yeah, I looked at those numbers and I was taken back by that, especially the number of 20,000 that were injured severely.
Right.
That's just an extreme number. I don't honestly think the general public, let alone the trucking community, is aware that the numbers are so high. So the need out there for organizations and ministries like yours is extreme, because
Yes.
I don't know of anyone else who does what you do exactly the way you do it. And
I believe we are unique to the industry. We've got these programs that are set up to assist, in a loss of life or injury or major medical episode such as a heart attack, or if something occurs at a driver's home. And we could go into those programs here in the next segment.
Yep, that's great. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. We've got to go to break here, but we're just touching the tip of the iceberg. And I've got some other questions for you that I can't wait to ask and to learn more about your ministry. But for now, we need to take a break, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Living life on the road can be exhausting. It's not uncommon for truckers to live inside their truck more than their own home. Other than the essential clothing, hygiene, and sleeping items, here are some items every truck driver needs to make life on the road more pleasant and feel more like home. A seat cushion. Comfort is key when driving for 11 hours each day. Having a seat cushion can help with tailbone and back pain. It's also great for boosting overall mood while driving. A portable stove. Investing in a portable stove is a great way to start eating your favorite meals on the road. Eating the same fast food and gas station food gets old really quick. Before buying a portable cooker, you need to invest in a power inverter. A power inverter allows you to use your vehicle's battery to generate AC that can run many types of electrical devices. Car mount. Having a place to mount your cell phone or GPS can be extremely convenient and much safer for truck drivers. Coffee maker. There's nothing quite like a fresh cup of coffee in the morning. Staying awake and alert is crucial for truck drivers. Dash cam. A dash cam is a must-have gadget for your expensive truck. A high-quality dash cam can save you from many problems while traveling on the road. A cooler. Having a cooler on the road can save time and money. It also provides the option for truckers to eat healthier meals.
Hi, this is Bill Waldrop. Want to learn more about trains? Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central for The Train Station. It's right here on TNCRadio.LIVE.
Welcome back to Truckers Life Radio with Ron Frazier, right here on TNCRadio.LIVE.
Welcome back. We're here talking with Robert Baum, founder and president of TruckersFinalMile. And Robert, I just want to pick up where we left off and talking to you about your organization. You stated, or I read somewhere, that truck drivers make sacrifices every day to struggle to keep their struggling. They make sacrifices every day to struggle to keep on struggling throughout their careers. What do you mean by that?
Well, Ron, if you thought about it, with the exception of the duration, being an over-the-road truck driver is kind of akin to being a deployed soldier. And we may only be out here a couple weeks at a time, maybe a couple months at a time. Some drivers do actually live in their trucks. But, our family at home, they're making that same sacrifice as a deployed family would make. She's fixing the sink. She's mowing the lawn. She's getting the kids off to school. The drivers out there dealing with everything that a driver deals with in his or her environment during the course of their job going down the road. We're essentially babysitting the four-wheelers out there. We have to be focused and be able to see what's happening around us and I mean all corners of our vehicle at any given moment. So we're struggling to keep that vehicle going in the right direction and getting the product delivered on time. We're dealing with companies that micromanage the drivers to the extent that they're just stressed out, and all these factors things occur that we have to just set other things aside. The wife calls, honey, the sink's broke. What am I going to do? We need a new lawnmower, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff is going on at the same time where you're trying to be a professional, safe driver going down the road. And that's pretty much what I mean by that struggle, because we give up. When most times when we leave the house, the thing we see in the rear view mirror is the house. It might be our kids out in the yard chasing after the truck. Stay another day, Daddy. We struggle through these things emotionally, and we have that stress on us. And Ron, some of these factors could lead, to the medical situations that we see. It could lead to some of the collisions that we see, because it is a form of distraction that takes us away from what we need to be doing behind the wheel of that 80,000-pound truck.
Yeah, and we see that all the time, Robert, as a chaplaincy organization. We're seeing guys struggling.
Yes.
It could be depression, it could be addiction.
Yes.
But there's a lot of stuff going on in the lives of our professional drivers that most of the country is not aware of.
That's correct.
All they see is a big old rig going down the road, and they're not always so kind to understand the stresses and the issues that are going on in the lives of those drivers.
That is correct, sir. And to a lot of the motoring public, we're the big boulder in the middle of the stream. They don't want, all they want to do is get around us and get by us. They've got to get to that next off ramp. They've got to get to that next, latte or something like that. They don't realize the stopping distance of a big rig. They don't realize the time it takes to maneuver even something as easy as a lane change. We've got merging traffic, converging traffic, people trying to get around us so they can get off the next off ramp. And it's a constant, continuous effort to keep that vehicle safe and, safety for ourselves and other road users. That's the main focus behind all of the programs in this industry, is to keep everyone out there safe and to share the road with other users and to watch them and to be sure that we could prevent anything that might occur out there on the road.
And I think you and I talked at the truck stop we were at doing a show, and one of the things we talked about is this trucking industry has changed.
Yes, sir.
The culture has changed. And so what are you seeing from old to new?
Well, being an old school truck driver, we were used to going in and having a sit down restaurant. Being able to talk with one another, I think the industry suffered when fast food came to the truck stops. A lot of issues with the hours of service, with a 30-minute break being taken at fuel islands now because the convenience of running in and getting a burger. Those things right there, technology for the good, technology is also bad if it's not used properly. The company I'm with does not micromanage drivers, but I know drivers that are on the phone with their dispatcher 4 or 5 times a day because they're monitoring that ELD and, hey, why aren't you moving? Hey, you need to take a break, but let's just do a half-hour break or whatever. And they're trying to coach these drivers as they're driving through that micromanagement. And to me, that's a bad thing because that's a distraction from the road. Leave us alone and let us do our jobs is my opinion. And we'll do a safe job. The safe, good professional drivers, they're out here. They're still here. They haven't left yet. Wages are going up in some segments of the industry. We need to look, in my opinion, again, we need to look more at retention bonuses as opposed to these huge sign-on bonuses that are only going to attract a driver for 6, 8, 9 months. But the guy that's going to be there 6, 8, 9 years, you need to reward that person as well, as especially the last 2 years with the lockdown and the pandemic and all that we dealt with everything. we're heroes one day, villains the next. It's just the nature of the industry.
That's right. Robert, tell me a little bit about your organization in the sense of how many people are involved with the Truckers Final Mile.
There are 5 people involved. There's myself as the founder and the president. We have a corporate vice president that does a lot of the background work with verifications and logistics as far as setting up, particularly for our signature program and assisting with returning a deceased driver to their home to be laid to rest. She does a lot of work there. And of course, we've got the standard board of directors with a chair, a treasurer, and a secretary. And they're all involved. I'm the voice of the organization. I'm the face of it because it's my baby, so to speak, and I want to make sure that it's done right and it's done proper. So I'm seeing a lot where the others, not so much.
Yeah, and I think you said some key words, done right, done properly. I've seen the word dignity used in your brochure and some of your literature. And so, those are some of the things we want to talk about. You shared that your ultimate and primary goal is to reunite truck drivers and their families in times of crisis. Maybe we could start this and have to pick it up again, but what are some of the situations you've had to deal with, Robert?
Well, Ron, I want to first point out one thing about the organization. We sat down after the Lord spoke to me and said, Robert, we'd like you to start this organization. I questioned him a little bit, and I said, Lord, why me? And I don't have a huge educational background. I don't wear a suit and tie every day. I don't have, a lot of access to what the organization needs sometimes. But he said, Robert, your heart's good. And so we went forward with the Lord's request, and the respect and dignity for North American truck drivers and their family in times of crisis. That's not a catch line. That's not any marketing tag or anything like that. We live and breathe respect and dignity for the North American truck drivers and their family. We are here, as old school drivers or new school drivers, the trucking industry is family. And each one of the drivers out there, whether we assist them or not, they are my brothers and sisters. I've been in this industry since '81, like I said before. And I want the industry to know that we are still the guys that are throwing in that quarter, nickel, and dime over there at the end of the coffee counter, helping out a family like we used to do in the old day. Right now, the charity is just a donation jar, but we're using the technology and other means that have evolved in the industry to, help others out, help our family out. That's what we're about. And I will say before you go to the break that no one in this organization, myself included, has ever taken any salary, wage, bonus, or any other type of compensation. This is a 100% charity, and it's all donor funded.
Well, that's good to hear. And we're going to go to break, but it is our desire to give the general public a better understanding of the professionals who are out there driving trucks. So we want to talk a little bit about that when we come back, but we got to go to break.
All right.
For the latest in Houston traffic, weather, news, and information, don't miss The Evening Surge on TNCRadio.LIVE.
Be sure to catch the Truckers Network radio show with your host, Shelley Johnson, weekdays at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, right here on TNCRadio.LIVE.
Welcome back to Truckers Life Radio with Ron Frazier, right here on TNCRadio.LIVE.
Welcome back. We're here with Robert Palm, who is the founder president of TruckersFinalMile. Robert, we left off talking about the importance of raising the image of our professional drivers. All of us find that, all of us at least involved in the trucking community, find that to be a priority. We want the general public to have a better understanding of those guys and those ladies who are driving trucks across the country to help meet our personal needs. And so that's, I was excited to hear you talk about that, talk about being there for the fellow driver. That's important in a day and age when the trucking industry is not looked on very well. I want to talk to you about your organization. How have you been able to bring awareness to what you do? You're not a large organization, but you do cover a lot of ground and you've helped a lot of people. How are you bringing awareness to your organization?
Well, Ron, first off, you and I met at a truck show. We do as many shows in the course of a year as we possibly can. We're looking at the calendar already for 2022, and we have 11 shows that we plan on attending in 2022. So we get out there as far as shows. Social media, we have 26,000 on our Facebook page. We've got a couple of really great supportive Facebook groups that combined are, give us, probably 150, 200,000 additional views or followers. So, I mean, as far as social media goes, we're huge. Families will sometimes include, in lieu of flowers, please donate to Truckers Final Mile. In obituaries, we're doing radio shows like this. We're doing other radio shows, and we do a lot of live events on our social media, and that's pretty much how we've grown to where we are today.
Robert, you talked about your program. If you would, I want you to take some time here and talk about the various things that you do. I know you have something called the Mobility Assistance Program. Right. You have 3 or 4 other programs. Share with us the various programs that you are implementing and utilizing to help our professional drivers and their families.
All right, sir. Well, let me first make the point that Truckers Final Mile does not transport any person injured, medically incapacitated or deceased. We do not transport any drivers. What our mission is to eliminate that burdensome cost that a family would experience. Our signature program number 1, the one we are most known for, is to reunite any truck driver that has passed away out on the road away from home with their family to their hometown funeral home to be laid to rest. Whatever associated costs, and every request can vary. No two are alike. There can be the recovery cost from the location of loss of life. There can be ground transportation from a medical examiner to a funeral home. There could be an autopsy repair. There could be tissue repair for organ donors. There can be the embalming. There could be cremation. There could be travel trays. There could be flights, the permits, the ground transportation for the hometown funeral home to go to their airport and pick up the decedent, and the death certificates. All of those costs in program number 1 is what our mission is to cover. And sometimes those can be in the thousands of dollars.
Robert, let's stop and talk a minute about program number 1.
Sure.
How do you even begin to fund that?
Our people, our donors are awesome. We have got the finest donors on the planet. When we put the need out there for assistance for a family, you know, we've grown this into a community, Ron, and our people that follow us, that donate with us and contribute and are involved. You know, I'm the founder of the charity, but it's not my charity. It's the industry's charity. It belongs to those that are out there in the trucking industry. We just put the structure together. That's all we did. And it's amazing, you know, because we ask ourselves, how are we going to do this? And then we put the need out there, and the people that we have following us on social media, the families we have assisted in the past, we've got some good sponsors. You know, we need a lot more sponsors to be able to do more. But it comes together, and it's there, and we're able to be able to do it.
Robert, go on and tell us about, you talked about that being the signature program, the number one thing that you do. I do know, obviously, there are a few other things you do. Would you share with us a little bit about those things?
All right. So program number one is reuniting the family in an instance of loss of life. Program number two is, let's say a driver is severely injured out on the road away from home. We help get the spouse or significant other to that driver's side, because first thing you need to have is communication. If the spouse can come to the injured driver's side and he or she can meet with the physician team or rehabilitation team, they can put together a plan. You know, perhaps she has to get the Red Cross involved. Maybe there's another organization within or outside of the trucking industry that can assist with with whatever programs they may have. And maybe she has to get the mother-in-law moved in to help with the kids. The injured driver can see that action is being taken to benefit them, and they've got a plan in place. They've had a conversation. He's a little bit more relaxed, which, believe it or not, actually begins the healing process. She's got a plan in place. She goes home, implements that plan, and then when the driver is released from medical care, we can assist with the cost of getting him or her home to begin the actual healing process. And let me go right into program number 3 real quick. Program number 3 is the same benefit. It's the same thing. Get a spouse to the driver's side, except we categorize this as major medical episodes, such as a heart attack, stroke, brain aneurysm, ruptured appendix, and things of that nature that require hospitalization and usually a surgery, because these are life-changing events for a trucker family. They don't know where that next paycheck might be coming from. If workers' comp is involved, it may be a reduced or drawn-out process in order to get that going. Our goal and our mission is to get these families back together and get that healing process started. And if you got any questions on those two, I'll go ahead.
No, I think, that's good. I want you to touch on, there was a couple things I saw. One of them was the mobility assistance thing that you do. The other thing was the grief counseling and the grief counselors through some kind of voucher program I'd like you to touch on. We'll probably run out of time here, but we can pick it up when we come back. But go ahead. Why don't you share a little bit about those with us?
All right. Program number 4 will be for the benefit of the driver, him or herself. Program number 4 is when a tragedy occurs involving a household member or the household itself. You're out on the road behind the wheel of that big truck and someone calls to tell you your home was just destroyed by a tornado. The focus isn't on driving at that time. It's on getting home to figure out where your family is being sheltered tonight. So we assist in getting the driver home from wherever they may be, get the truck at a truck stop, repair facility or something, get the driver home to deal with that, get with the Red Cross, attend the funeral, whatever may be necessary, and then get him or her back to the truck. And then after the break, I'll go into the mobility and the grief counseling programs.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about that and a couple other things that I want to bring to, have you bring to our listeners' attention as far as what you do as an organization. But like you said, we've got to go to break. So when we get back from break, we'll pick it up here.
This blog on TNCRadio.LIVE is brought to you by the Truckers Network at app.thetruckersnetwork.net. Quick and healthy meals for truckers. Life on the road can make it challenging for truckers to find a healthy meal. Truckers are on the go and sometimes on a strict time frame to get their loads delivered on time. Stopping at a truck stop for fast food sounds like the most convenient option. Although it may be more convenient, eating unhealthy gas station food can take a toll on one's health. Plus, it can be more expensive. Stopping at a grocery store and picking up healthy foods can benefit truckers in many ways. Eating healthy improves mood, health, and well-being. Consider investing in appliances like a cooler, slow cooker, lunchbox, or a microwave. This will make eating healthy on the road much easier. Breakfast. The most important meal of the day, especially for truckers. Eating a good breakfast helps keep your energy up. Oatmeal is a quick and easy healthy breakfast. You can make it in under 3 minutes, and it's easy to store in your cabin. Tip: adding some fresh fruits and nuts in your oatmeal can make it even more delicious. Yogurt makes a great breakfast. It's high in protein and can keep you full for a long time. Try adding some fruits, nuts, and honey. Toast and peanut butter. You'll need a toaster or a toaster oven for this one. Peanut butter contains high levels of protein, fiber, and healthy fats. It also gives you endless energy. Protein bars are the quickest breakfast option. It's safe to eat while driving. If you're in a hurry, protein bars will make a great breakfast. Lunch. It can be very tempting to pull over and stop at your favorite restaurant. Lunchtime's a great opportunity to make healthier choices. Some favorite healthy lunch meals are the bento box lunch with loads of healthy, clean foods. It's quick and easy, too. Burrito bowls are full of fresh veggies and just take 10 minutes to make. Ham sandwich, a classic, easy lunch. Chicken salad takes about 30 minutes to prepare, but it's well worth it. Serve it on lettuce or any type of bread you like. Dinner? This is where a slow cooker will definitely come in handy. Honey garlic chicken and veggies is the easiest one-pot recipe ever. Hardly takes any effort at all. Beef stew makes a great dinner. You can enjoy it all year round. Whole roasted chicken in your slow cooker's a recipe every trucker should try. It's delicious and can keep you fed for a couple of days. Ground beef and potatoes are amazing and will only take you about 15 minutes to prepare. This blog was brought to you by the Truckers Network at app.thetruckersnetwork.net. For the latest in Houston traffic, weather, news, and information, don't miss the Evening Surge, weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. on TNCRadio.LIVE.
Welcome back to Truckers Life Radio with Ron Fraser, right here on TNCRadio.LIVE.
Hey, we're back, and we're talking with Robert Palm. And Robert, we want to pick up where we left off, so why don't you share the other two programs that you're involved in, and also this active campaign you've got going on in December.
All right, Ron, let me do a real fast recap here. Program 1, we assist in reuniting a driver that has passed away out on the road away from home to their families so that they could be laid to rest. Program 2 covers severe injury of a truck driver out on the road. Program 3 covers sudden onset medical episodes such as heart attack, stroke. Program 4 is for the driver himself should something occur at their home involving a household member or the home itself. Program number 5 is what we call mobility. This is a program that is for any driver that has lost his or her career due to an on-the-job related injury that is disabling and permanent. We can assist in construction of a wheelchair ramp, rolling showers, lowered countertops, pocket doors in a restroom. Those are very, very important. and make those improvements in the home to maintain or improve quality of life for the driver, even though they're transitioning out of the industry. Program number 6 is an on-staff chaplain service that would evaluate the need for grief counseling. Now, Truckers Final Mile cannot provide individual grief counseling, and we do not. Our chaplain will make referral to a hometown local professional grief counselor to where Truckers Final Mile can maybe cover the cost of 1, 2, or 3 of those sessions. But there are instances in the industry, truck drivers survive suicide by truck because, we're targeted as the weapon, quote unquote, for the suicide. Truck drivers survive multiple fatality collisions, where several people may be killed, but the truck driver is not even injured. And our children are connected in every way, with social media nowadays, that it may be the child's last image of her parent is that truck careening off the interstate bridge because those instances are so sensationalized. We may be able to assist with 1, 2, or 3 sessions of grief counseling, but the intent here is to get the person in front of a local professional licensed counselor, and they can further determine the need, because that little girl, she might need 7 or 8 years of counseling as opposed to the 2 or 3 that we could provide. It's just something that's a tool to get the people that have that need in front of a professional. And then we have an annual campaign. It's a campaign because it's a seasonal deal. It's not a program. We call it Sleigh Bells and Santa. And the children of our industry are very often a forgotten element. We see them in the mirrors. We drive down the driveway. We wait for them to run out to the truck when the truck comes home. But when a driver is lost out on the road and the child has to endure, the attendance of their daddy's or their mom's funeral, the household suddenly becomes a single parent household. There's a lot of changes, a lot of sacrifices that are tough on the children of our industry. And so we designed this campaign to just nudge them a little bit and say, hey, we're thinking about you. We still have you in our prayers. And what we do each year is we distribute gifts to these children. It's not a lot, it's not much, but it's something to let them know that those of us in the industry, we're still here for them and we still care for them.
Robert, tell our folks, our listeners, those guys, our professional drivers, men and women on the road, how can they get involved in Sleigh Bells and Santa?
Sleigh Bells and Santa is cool. All you have to do is our home address is on the bottom of our website, www.TruckersFinalMile.org. Or if you're on the website, you can go under the fundraising tab. The second one down is Sleigh Bells and Santa. It has our address there. You could send a new unwrapped gift of any type to that address, and we ask that you have it there by December 17th of this year so that we could then distribute them to the families that we have enrolled in that campaign. And if you know any child, not just the families we have assisted, but any child in the industry that lost a CDL driver parent out on the road away from home, please send us a detailed email to sleighbells@truckersfinalmile.org. And this must be detailed with verifying information and contact and home address of the next of kin so that we can know how many children, what their ages are, what their names are, and so that we could distribute Christmas gifts to them this year. We currently have 34 children enrolled in 2021. In 2020, we gave presents to 37 children. We gave out 130 gifts last year. And so if you can get all of that to us by December 17th, we can get those children enrolled and get them participating in the Sleigh Bells campaign this year.
That is super, and we hope our listeners take advantage of that. There couldn't be a better cause out there. If you are in the trucking community, whether you be a driver or you be a trucking company owner or related to the trucking industry, here's a great cause, and we encourage you to be part of that. Here's your opportunity to give back and to share with families who are in a tough situation right now. Robert, we want to talk a little bit real quickly before we have to break and go. Tell us how people can qualify for your program, whether that be how can they get involved or how can they qualify for one of your programs?
Well, I don't know anybody that wants to qualify for one of our programs. These are the worst hour, real life, immediate need situations. These are accidents, collisions, major injuries, major medical occurrences, destruction of a home. I don't know anybody around that would want to qualify. This,
probably a bad term, Robert.
That's okay. That gave me an opportunity to explain that, sir. But you know, this is open to any North American truck driver and their family. And our programs are in our strategic plan, and they're laid out, and they're specific. They're published on the website, TruckersFinalMile.org. You know, we don't help people get home if they're quitting their job or abandoning their equipment, or if their trainer kicked them out of the truck. We're not the guy to call for on that. But if there's a major medical episode and you're hospitalized, and you need your family by your side, and you need to make a plan and get recovered so that you can get back into the industry, then yes, we are that guy to call.
So let's say that somebody's in the field, Robert, and they have a problem and it happens to arise in an off hour. Can you be reached 24/7?
Yes, sir. Our phone is answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The CEO of this organization does not have a golf club membership.
I love the way you said that.
Sorry.
Hey, Robert, yeah, I mean, that's can be greatly appreciated if you look at it from the way you said it.
Yes, sir.
Robert,
trying to get a hold of a CEO on a holiday weekend. you know, next week is a critical week for Truckers Final Mile. The Christmas holiday week's a critical week. New Year's, any given holiday, even weekends. It's sometimes hard for a family when you're in a urgent need situation. It's hard for a family sometimes to get a decision maker on the phone. Truckers Final Mile answers every call.
Well, we're glad to have you, Robert. We're glad you took time to be with us. We want to remind our listeners that if they want to connect with you, they can go to your website at www.TruckersFinalMile.org. They can also take a look at your Facebook page, which is TruckersFinalMile.org on Facebook. And Robert, thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your organization. Thank you for sharing what God is doing and has done. And we will be praying for you and for your organization as you move forward. And again, to all of our listeners, here's a great outreach that you need to be part of. And so don't forget to connect with Robert and his organization.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you guys.